Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Many of you watching this video might be wondering why I would be wearing this ridiculous getup in this hot sun making this video. But this video has a real purpose. And the purpose of this video, and I really readily expect this video to go viral. And the purpose of it, and I had to wear this whole getup so I could wear this. So you understand who we're dealing with this morning. Because the people who sold me this piece of cloth sold it to me for $110, this piece of cloth. They're worth $1. And they told me, Solomon's in Westmall. Solomon's in Westmall told me this is a pocket square and it serves no purpose. It is strictly for flair. Hence Faris Al-Rawi's use of pocket squares. He is Trinidad's political pocket square. So I'm wearing this morning to get us into a mood. When you're doing theater, and Faris was doing theater in the parliament, when he was passing the CBD bill, the cannabis bill, when Faris is sweating already, when Faris, I don't have air condition here, not in the Hyatt, when Faris was piloting the legalizing of the marijuana bill, he was in the parliament in theater. And I want to get into character. I want to channel my inner Faris. I'm going to need some tears. You get the idea? Because you see, the whole stunt was bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why the whole stunt was bullshit. Ignore my tears. Like you should have ignored Faris's tears. Let's see if we could put this pocket square to good use. Faris stunt in the parliament. He came and he cried crocodile tears for you about a dead senator. And how that dead senator, in the last days of their life, needed marijuana to get them through the day. But Faris didn't tell you that medicinal marijuana is already legal in Trinidad. That the Ministry of Health could facilitate, that doctors could prescribe medicinal marijuana for those purposes. So that lie, all of Faris's crocodile tears, was a stunt to fool you. Because whoever that senator was could have had their marijuana legally prescribed. So let's dismiss that. Let's deal with the rest. Because the information that I want to put into the public space this morning is critical. And if 1.4 million of you want to end the slavery that is Trinidad and collapse the plantation national movement, it is time to see through the bullshit. A woman told me this morning that it is time for people to be creative. I had to tell her, no ma'am, it is time for people to be sensible. Faris Al-Rawi passed a law that gave you 4 plants in your yard. Now I ask a question. If 1.4 million people plant 4 plants, 1 million people plant, that's 4 million plants. So why would you put a number on it? Why would you have to put a number on the amount of plants somebody is allowed to plant? Because if you're decriminalizing it, if you could smoke weed and not go to jail, if it's decriminalized, then why put a quantity on it? Because 30 grams of weed, or what Faris said is the equivalent of 3 packs of cigarettes, which I work out to be 60 joints. So you're entitled to legally have 60 joints. If 30 grams of weed is 60 joints, why 4 plants? Why 4 plants, Faris? Why not plant as much as you want? I have normal trees, none of them is marijuana, but I'm doing this video here for you to see how much space 4 plants will take up in a yard. Now, Faris allows you 4 plants, and I went to do my research because how long does it take a marijuana plant to grow? 3 to 5 months. 3 to 5 months for you to be able to get usable, smokable weed from the plant. Now, the people that Faris targeted, even though he pretended otherwise, we're not talking medicinal marijuana. We are not talking about repurposing Caroni land and Petrotrin land and CL Financial land to use to grow marijuana, cannabis for export to the medicinal marijuana industry. We're not talking that. What Faris is talking about is potheads, and that's cool. You could smoke to your heart's desire. I don't mind. I don't get in the way. People, you could do, if I were prime minister, I'd probably legalize all drugs. Who want to smoke and get high and stunt, we will deal with it after. But the point is, if you are going to legalize the weed just to appeal to people who smoking weed for their votes, let's tell them how you're using them now. Faris said there are 107 people in the jails that shouldn't be there, and he cried some more. But there are 3,000 people in the jails that shouldn't be there. Those are the tears we should be shedding today. Because there are people who are in jail this morning who, if they had been sentenced and convicted to the maximum, have already been there more than they should have. It is why Nikolai Edwards' father escaped from jail and had to get shot dead in the street like a dog by police bullets. Because there are people languishing and rotting in that jail, and that is an issue that needs to be addressed. But that's not going to win Faris votes. Faris looking for the party vote. Faris looking for the weed smoking vote. Let me deal with this. He has said to you that you're allowed to smoke weed now and nobody can lock you up. But let's see who's the real winner here. You're allowed 4 plants. A plant takes 3 to 5 months to grow. So if you plant all 4 plants tomorrow, in 3 to 5 months, each plant is going to give you between 0 and 1,500 grams of weed. Now, if you're not licensed as a grower, and if you're not licensed as a wholesaler, and if you are not licensed as a distributor, if you are just one of the weed smokers hoping to grow your own weed to smoke, know this. Every gram above 30 grams that you own is a crime. So if you plant 4 plants and they generate 6,000 grams, you are breaking the law. You cannot legally own that. So Faris fooling you. If the police kick down your door and find 4 mature marijuana plants in your yard, each of them in excess of 30 grams, you're in trouble. So it was never to give you the permission to grow your own weed, because you would have to stagger your growing. You can't store it. You're only allowed 30 grams at a time. And you can't tell a marijuana plant only grow 30 grams at a time. It grows between 3 to 5 months to maturity, and then you harvest it, and you have 1,500 grams of weed, and you're breaking the law. You can't smoke all of it. You can't even smoke the 60 joints that you're legally entitled to. That might kill you. It might send you mad. So what is Faris doing with this stunt? I'll tell you what he's doing. While you distracted, looking for weed to smoke, the crumbling Sabga empire doing numbers to see if they could grow and distribute licenses. West Indian cannabis is set up to grow, to sell no shirt. The owners of West Indian cannabis also are in business with Faris and his family in MRI Center on Alexandra Street across the road from Faris. 2 notorious buildings. Yes, those same people. When Faris say family of a family of a family, and that Sabga is a family too, he's not telling you the whole story. But I will. Because you need to understand this. That this whole law, this whole decriminalization bill, is because the marijuana industry that could be grown in Trinidad and Tobago, if 30 grams is 60 10 piece, if 30 grams is $6,000, and one plant could give you 5 times that, if one marijuana plant is worth $30,000 in 3 to 5 months, and in your yard in 3 to 5 months, your 4 plants, if you got a license to grow and distribute, could be worth $120,000. You see the difference now? You see how Cocorite, Morva, Beatam, Laventel, Sealots, all them people, they little half a plot a yard because that growing in a barrel, you know. That growing in a barrel in America and California and even here in Trinidad. A little Chinese boy had get held. He had converted a tongue house into just growing weed. All you remember that? That case still going on, even though it's about 15 years old. That case still going on. You see, growing weed is lucrative. Just for the weed smokers. Big money. One plant, one marijuana plant converted to grams of weed for smoking is worth $120,000 in Trinidad and Tobago. So your four plants, one plant is $30,000. 4 plants, $120,000. Every 3 to 5 months. That means you have 4 growing seasons in your yard. And with 4 growing seasons in your little postage stamp backyard, you can make $500,000 a year profit. You could make $500,000 a year profit. Now this is where the problem arises. If everybody growing 4 weed plants and everybody get harvest at the same time 5 months from now, the price of weed will drop to free because nobody will be able to sell their weed because everybody have 300 joints. So if everybody have 300 joints, including those who smoking weed, nobody buying weed. The real business is the export business. California makes billions of dollars exporting medicinal weed, using in the medicinal marijuana industry, the CBD oil and all this drama. All of it has real money in it. And what the government could have done, if the government was serious, was identify all of those who currently in the business. When you're letting people out of jail, let out the pushers now, let out the growers, those whose trees you used to go with. Remember Operation Weed Eater, when you send the helicopters and the army, each joint exercise cost the people of Trinidad $1.4 million to go and burn down people weed. Those people, bring them into a conversation now, because you're not just decriminalizing, you're legitimizing the crop. And if you're going to legitimize the crop, let's monetize the crop. Because the land that you're giving all your friends and financiers to build Cineplex and mall and strip mall and gas station all up and down the highway could be growing marijuana. Marijuana grows like a weed. It literally grows like a weed. So from Santa Cruz to Caroni to San Souci, anywhere in Trinidad and Tobago, we could be growing weed for export. And you could be giving people licenses to grow weed for export. That their whole job is to grow weed. And if they're legally entitled to have 6-day joints, they could smoke to their heart's content. And the state comes and buys what you make. I have grown for you today, sir, 9,000 grams of weed. We will take that, we will pay you, and we will agree on a price. And everybody could get rich. But that's not the government's plan. That's not Faris' plan. That's certainly not Sabga, Hadid, and Aboud plan. That is not Christian Mute and Superfarm's plan. You see, what this government that is owned and operated by the 1% plans to do is legitimize your weed smoking and send you in Superfarm to buy your joint. Because anything else, they go terrorize you. The police will be used to come in your yard and kick down and burn down and cut down. And if you have more than 6-day joints, you're in trouble. So let's turn the conversation around now. Let all of us cry. Long tears today for all those little black youths who spent years in jail for a joint. Let's cry for them, Faris. Because you, as the Attorney General who just drafted a 6-week law, a copy and paste law, could have freed them since 2015. If Kamla to blame, I have a problem with Kamla being to blame. But if Kamla to blame, Faris, you were stunting your pocket squaring ass all over the media for 5 years. And you had the plan and the solution to everything. And if it wasn't for the Progressive Empowerment Party telling the nation that we would decriminalize, legitimize, and monetize marijuana in this country, you and Rowley and the rest of the Jackass farm wasn't touching it. But you're rushing. And you're hoping to fool weed smokers to vote for you in your crumbling plantation national movement. So So let's do this, Trinidad and Tobago. Let's continue to see them for what they are. They decriminalize it, smoke your weed. Light up in church, light up in the maxi, light up wherever you could, wherever you legally, lawfully allowed. But remember that you are entitled to a license to grow just as much as anybody else. They can't set standards beyond the average person and then have the average person in the fields growing the weed. Was this why we gave 100,000 Venezuelans work permits so that they could get to work growing weed for the 1%? And all of this has to be discussed, and all of this we have to know, because Faris Al-Rawi is a lying, stunting jackass, and I say that without fear of contradiction. I don't trust him, Rowley, and Stuart Young further than I can pick them up and throw them. Colm Imbert is a next deceitful, lying fool that uses government to his best interest, not yours. And any time that these people come out and tell you that they're doing something for you, wait for the sting in the tail, because the PNM is responsible for, by themselves, the conditions of Morva, Beetham, Lavantil, Sealots, River Estate, Patna, Bagatelle, Covin, Abibuja, Big Yard, Caranash, Point Kumana, Never Dirty, Gonzales, Hard Bargain, Waterhole, all these places where so many people who keep voting the PNM into power live in abject squalor. Need to ask Faris, if the law took 2 months to write and 1 month to debate before a hurry local government election, then how come you didn't free all them little black children September 2015? How come you didn't send them home to their mother December 2015? Why you waited till now? If the law took 2 months to write, Faris, 1 month to debate before the hurry local government election, you could have done that the first day you came into office, when the Progressive Empowerment Party was talking about it, that we would do it. You could have freed them since then. All these little people that you're going to open the gates of the jail and stunt for, and I want 250,000 views on this video. I want the whole of Trinidad to know that all of those little black faces that you're going to open the gate and stunt for, they could have come out of that jail 4 years ago. And Faris, Rowley, and Stuart Young, and Colm Imbert couldn't give a ass. And that the only reason they're coming out now is because the PNM has run out of ideas. That Trinidad and Tobago sees the 1% and the contract mafia for who they are. And that Trinidad and Tobago has real political options now. People who are brave enough to stand up to whoever you are, however deep you think your pockets are, and call you out. For the first time in the history of this country, Trinidadians and Tobagonians are seeing people stand up for the people and giving them real hope and real opportunity. And the next election going to be a horse of a different color. You're not even sure, Faris, that the 107 people that you're going to release from weed charges in the jail going to vote for you, because everybody sees you and your government for the stunting band of jackasses you are. Trinidad and Tobago, change the conversation. Change it in the media. Change it in the Express, in the Guardian, in the Newsday, the CNC3 and TV6. They're trying to manipulate the conversation about dying senators and boys who languishing in jail. Flip that conversation. Ask Faris why you didn't do it in 2015 when you won the election. Why, when you were in the Senate and in the Parliament for 5 years before that, you didn't bring it up not one time. Not once did you ever rise and say, Mr. Speaker, a matter of urgent national importance, there are black children languishing in the jail. Not once. Not once did you ever stand up and talk, Mr. Speaker, there is a senator, one of our ranks, that is dying, that needs weed. Not once. So miss me with your bullshit, Faris. And Trinidad and Tobago, you have a responsibility to stop defending nonsense based on skin color and hair texture and start to stand up for yourself, for one another, and this country. This has been an eye-opening video, and I hope each and every one of you, after you watch it, share it 100 times. Force him to answer. put that parliament to work. They have to respond now. You're decriminalizing the weed. Who gets in to own it? Who gets in to grow it? Who gets in to store it? Who gets in to warehouse it? Who gets in to move it? Who gets in to distribute it? Who gets in to export it? Because they have billions of dollars in that weed. And stop cheating poor black people like their only job is to labor in the fields and to smoke so you make profit. Wake up and stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.